So Richard is going in his hibernation chamber. He likes it in there for some reason. But I had a correction to make because in the previous video I hadn't actually confirmed with ChatGPT, which told me that if you raise the blood pressure so that more blood gets forced through the heart, so that there's less left behind, and that less behind blood goes into the lungs. And I know it's not really the blood, it's the lymph. They're calling it the plasma, the doctors. But low blood pressure is better to make less blood go into the lungs. And go into the lungs as in the fluid that fills the lungs up. And therefore diuretics are good. Now, I think that's a trick. And not an intentional trick, but kind of like intubating people. It's a trick to, to oxidize their cells. Because oxygen is the most corrosive element on Earth. And anyways, so therefore, you can't really breathe that good if you don't have oxygen in your cells. And if you have pure oxygen, like as in intubation, or a higher concentration of oxygen that's too much, that is not good for reasons I don't know, other than I can say that oxygen is corrosive and acidic. And you don't want to have too much. You want to have the right amount. So, but the whole point is that if I were to not eat for a day, and then I were to have low blood pressure, even though I don't have pneumonia or heart disease that causes my lungs to fill with fluid, it would be almost impossible for me to breathe. And I could have a smoke at that point, and it would make my breathing way better because it would be thickening my blood, and that would be increasing my blood pressure, and that would be distributing more blood to the cells that make up my lungs. That would be oxygenating the cells, and that would be the priority more so than draining the fluid. So even if he has no fluid in his lungs at all, but he has low blood pressure, he's going to stop being able to breathe. And that's more important than getting the fluid out of his lungs, that he has oxygenated cells. So therefore, his new goal is to have more blood. We want to make his blood not too thick. We want to have more blood volume to get oxygenating his cells. And then instead of using treatments like antibiotics and diuretics, and I think antibiotics are the only scientific allopathy. I think medical science is scientific when you have surgery for, like, you broke your hand and you have to have your hand put back together, and they have to like cut your finger and like connect the bone or something, like that kind of thing. If you have like a traumatic injury, then medical science is scientific. And otherwise, antibiotics are scientific in a certain way, but they're scientific. Antibiotics saved his life. And otherwise, I think medicine is entirely just killing the patient. So anyway, that's pretty much the point I'm at.